The Watford Fan Show, the latest on the Golden Boys. And all the gossip from Vicarage Road. Plus, new Hornets getting vocal on the socials. The Watford Fan Show with 7otb.com. Predict 7 results. Win 7 figures. Love Sport London. A great station for a great city.
Yeah, evening, it's Love Sport Radio, 2 minutes past 7 across the capital. Let's talk all things Watford with the chaps from the Hornets Nest and the Luther Blissett arm over the top guy. The guy.
You keep pulling me off on it. You don't get.
It was funny though. It was funny.
Yeah, I know.
It was like, you know.
I was being a bit of a fanboy. I was like, Luther, come on, mate. Let's get tight. Have a little photo.
Getting comfy, weren't you?
Yeah.
How'd it feel to be in the presence of greatness?
Yeah, well, I mean, not every day, is it? Really nice guy.
Watford's favourite son?
Yeah, probably. Well, he's a Watford legend. He's got to be up there, top
player?
3.
Yeah,
if not top
scorer, top appearances, isn't it?
Watford's greatest ever player?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Or Will Frostron.
Oof. Oh, he's pulling the names out now, isn't he? He's showing off now.
Who's the keeper? Steve Sherwood.
Yeah. There's a lot of good players.
Yeah, legend.
Chamberlain.
One of the Rocket Men, Steve Sherwood.
I was having an argument with my dad. Is John Barnes a Watford legend?
Yeah.
But he's more of a Liverpool
went to
legend.
school with John Barnes. Said he was a better player than John Barnes as well.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Anyway, let's talk transfers. The summer transfer window is upon us. We should have like a little gong there. Who you want in, who you want out. It's going to be another like revolving door at Watford, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a revolving door. There's a few positions we need to upgrade on, especially defensively. I think if Cabasele and Cathcart keep themselves fit, we just probably need one more centre-back. A left-back's got to be a priority. A top striker as well, 15 and goal season striker, because although Andre Gray has hit the ground running, there needs to be someone who can take the initiative and be that prolific striker. We need Deeney in that first season in the Premier League was the one we wanted. Igalo as well, so we've been missing that, especially when you can't keep the goals out the other end. You do need goals up the pitch, and
I think it's game over for Deeney, you know.
It's a tough one, because I think obviously that sentimental reasons with him will always be with Watford, and what fans always want him to do well, but at the same time you've got to think as a club as a whole. So is he on the decline? Probably. At
the age of 29 he should be in his peak.
I wouldn't say modern football now. You are in your peak at 29.
I thought it was 28 to 32 for strikers.
I think it used to be like that. I think now it's more 25. I think you've got to be. I mean, Jesse Lingard's a good example. He's been a bit of a late bloomer, but he's really...
Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, I know, but think about it. What was Jesse Lingard doing in his early days? But especially 25.
He's only...
I know, but 25 in modern football's actually not that young. I know it sounds a bit weird, but these days you're getting likes of Richarlison, who's coming into the Premier League and hitting the ground running. Jesse Lingard's actually quite a late bloomer. He's 25 now. He has had one of his best seasons in his career, if not his best.
I don't think he's good enough.
I think he plays. Well, yeah, I think he's a good player.
I don't think he's good enough for Manchester.
I didn't rate him at the start of the season. That's a funny thing we're going to come on to moment of the season, because I slagged him off for the United game and that backfired.
He's not good enough.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
No, but there needs to be a few more signings in the summer.
They do.
Yeah. I think Jacobs covered that quite nicely. I think if we are going to keep Deeney, we need someone up there with him. Deeney's not a lone striker kind of guy. He needs an Igalo and a Vidra up there with him, someone pacey. Gray on paper should have been covering that role really, but hasn't quite worked for him, which can happen in football. It's just, I think the price tag has sort of not helped him a little bit in his with his form this season. So yeah, for me, priorities lie with a couple of decent strikers and a couple of decent fit central defenders as well. So
while we say that, don't forget, we want to ask you, what is the priority for Watford this coming summer? Presuming as well, Javi Gracia is going to be the man to lead them forward. You know, after Friday's sort of mass firings, looks like Javi's going to be in the building.
I think so. I'd like to see Javi stay as well. I think he's. I'd like to see him given a full transfer window and a full pre-season as well. He obviously came in at a difficult time after Silva got sacked halfway through the transfer window in January, with a lot of injuries to deal with as well. I was lucky enough to meet Javi a couple of weeks ago.
I saw your photo.
Where did you meet him? I was invited along to one of Barclays. They do like a game-changing thing, and they were interviewing Gomez and Javi, and they just I was lucky enough to be invited along down to Vicarage Road to come and have a quick...
I thought you were going to say I met him in Wenzel's or Greg's or something.
No, nothing.
Can you imagine?
I was picking up a sausage roll and
what was that little
cheese and pickle sandwich from Tesco.
You know in Watford Town?
Yeah.
Where the old market entrance was, there's some really manky looking calf there. Like massive calf.
I mean, the thing about Watford is, name me another place which has 2 Nando's in the town centre.
I told Luther that the other day, he didn't believe me. I told Luther, there's one at the top, one at the bottom, isn't there?
That should go on the Wikipedia page, honestly.
There are 2 Nando's in Watford. He also didn't believe me that they do glass bottle ketchup.
Yeah, they do.
Come on, Luther. Come on.
And there's no KFC, which I always get a bit...
There's no KFC?
There's no KFC in Watford Town Centre.
Who needs a KFC?
But there's Prism.
I'll tell you what, there's a good kebab shop as well. There's a Pucker Turkish kebab shop.
Oh, yeah, Market Street.
On like the main strip?
Yeah, no, that's moved to Market Street.
Has it?
Yeah, it's... chicken doner, chips, wrap. Can't go wrong. I'm telling you.
Look how happy.
Not sure we're going to be meeting any of the Watford squad in there anytime soon.
You never know. You never know.
I once met Tamas Priskin in Lartista.
Was he offside?
No, but there was a shirt on the wall with him signed it. But yeah, that's
Tamas Priskin.
What, that goal against Chelsea?
My dad's still got a scar from that goal. He jumped up celebrating and scratched his leg on the chair in front of him. He's still got a scar to this day.
Has he?
He has. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Should have sued the club.
That is a collector's item. Seeing Tamas Priskin score, let alone against Chelsea.
Bankrupted the club if you'd sued them.
Injuries after scoring goals. They're always the best ones.
They're actually the best. There's a mate of mine, and I hope she doesn't mind me sort of mentioning this, but she's quite short, and every time her club scores, she always sits up like the back of the stand as well. You know, she likes to get involved with the singing and the chanting, but she gets like picked up and chucked about a bit all the time. And like every away game, she'll message me. She goes, "You're never going to guess what happened." She goes, "I just went over all the fans." I was like, "How? How does this happen?" She goes, "They just picked me up." I was like, "Right, okay."
Stop going to football.
It's like, you know, like a bouncing one. You know, like one of those like inflatables, like at ground.
Yeah, the final day of the season.
That.
Yeah.
It's just like literally with her. She just always. I was just like, you need to be like, you know, like chained to a chair or something like that. Just like have like little like ankle tag next. It doesn't work. 7:10. We'll be back with a bit of a review of the season. This is our sport.
I've never cheated in my life, I swear. Just ask my friends. They know, believe me.
Love sport.
I work for a spokesmansaid.com. We can help you save money on your home insurance. All you need to do is visit a spokesmansaid.com and find out if we can find you a better deal.
Hey London, fancy putting your finger on our button? Go on, you know you want to. Get up close and personal with us every Sunday night for a dating show with a difference. From bad hair days to Netflix without the chill. Sunday nights in London will never be the same. Love Struck, the Love Sport dating show with a difference.
I like a drink as much as the next guy, unless that next guy is Ant McPartlin.
558 AM. Love Sport.
Right, time to review the season here on Love Sport. It's your Watford fan show. Let's talk July and August, chaps.
So we're gonna rattle through July and August. July mainly because it was pre-season. Obviously, the news of Marco Silva coming in was on the 27th of May, and then we had the pre-season games against Woking, Wimbledon, which was kind of a nice classic Watford game to bed Marco Silva in, going 2-0 down, bring it back to 2-2, and then losing in the 90-something minute away at Wimbledon. And then we had the GT Memorial game up at Villa Park, and then the GT Memorial game, of course, at Vicarage Road as well, at home to Real Sociedad at the start of August. Jacob, out of July, what was your moment of the month, if any?
If any, I think the moment of the month was I was in Norwich. God knows why. And I was in the car, and I was on
holiday.
Yeah,
Caravan club.
That is a typical holiday with my parents, anyway.
Actually,
yeah. Go to like Great Yarmouth or something. Anyway, I was in the car. I was watching on this dodgy Czech Republic stream, Victoria Pleasant versus Watford, which saw Will Hughes make his debut, a Kaka score, which is a rarity. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly a month for highlights because, frankly, they weren't amazing. But if I was going to be honest, it was probably the Real Sociedad game, just for the touch and tribute from John Motson to Graham Taylor, especially the flags, the scarves as well, and also in the Rookery. Noel was in the Rookery in a massive canvas, could you say?
Yeah, big banner.
Tifo. Yeah, it was. That was a really nice touch as well. So probably that game.
Yeah, the guys from Kit Aid were accepting kit and putting them out on display, weren't they? So we started the season against Liverpool, a balmy 3-3 draw, and then a win against Bournemouth before the classic League Cup defeat to a lower league opposition. I asked you this before the show, Watford fans, if you're listening. From the last 10 seasons, from 08-09 onwards, how many times have we lost to lower league opposition? We'll give you about 30 seconds. We'll cover the rest of August. Have a think. So that's 10 games where we've lost to lower league oppositions. How many times in those 10 games have we lost to lower league? Then we had to finish off August, we ended with a 0-0 draw at home to Brighton. What was your particular standout moment from those games?
I think the one game that stands out for me is obviously Bournemouth away. Richarlison coming in, he obviously made an impact off the bench against Liverpool, but that Bournemouth game was the moment where I thought, you know what, you are a player. He was tearing Adam Smith. You almost felt sorry for him because he was getting weaving inside, outside, and the second goal really was something rare. He likes the physical aspect of the game, Richarlison, and I didn't expect that for someone who had just come from Brazil. Obviously the stereotype of him is someone who's a bit flimsy, doesn't really like to get his foot in, but he was everything that was the opposite. And that goal really was the one where he chased it down, he got to the near post and tucked it away, was superb.
It was also the introduction of the Abdoulaye Doucouré chant, which was my moment of the month. Obviously, Doucouré sort of was on the outskirts of the squad at the end of last season. Not really, didn't really get a look in until the final few games, and then this season. So for some reason, the Bournemouth game, someone probably had a bit too much to drink and put on a bit of Earth, Wind and Fire and thought, hang on, I know what fits this.
Doucouré.
Oh, he's been phenomenal this season and deservedly won Player of the Season. But that chant is everything you want in a chant. I remember From the Rookery End guys did a what makes a chant special on one of their podcasts after that game, and it was fantastic. It just made Bournemouth away just that little bit sweeter, just a song stuck in your head for the journey home. For those pondering the answer to the question, how many times in the last 10 seasons have Watford lost to lower league opposition in the League Cup? The answer is 8. 8 out of 10 times we lost. The only teams that were higher in the leagues when they beat us were Norwich City and Tottenham Hotspur. There you go. So going on to September, we had a fantastic day on the South Coast again, a 2-0 win away at Southampton, and then a little bit of a humbling against Manchester City, where we lost 6-0. 6. I put in.
Don't rub it in, Aaron. Come on, mate.
I tweeted a little montage of like predictions and video reactions this morning.
I love it. Everyone, 1-0 Watford, let's do it. 3-1 Watford, let's do it. Bang! What happened? Just don't know really.
I foolishly put not a score prediction, but said, Watford could go top if we win this game today. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. And then Kevin De Bruyne puts in one of the finest individual performances I think I've ever seen at Vicarage Road, cruising to a 6-0 drubbing. And then we had two pretty eventful away games. Do you want to cover us on those ones, Jacob?
Yep. So my moment of the season was, actually it might be moments. I might have to make it plural. Swansea obviously away. That one probably less so than West Brom, because against Swansea we actually didn't play that well in the second half especially. But like Andy said, it's sweet when you win after playing so poorly. Richarlison the goal wasn't actually that good. I mean, Mawson was absolutely horrendous defending. He's done it all wrong, his technique, and then Richarlison nicked it off him and then put it in. It was a weird one because obviously we hadn't played that well, but I think the one that stood out for me was West Brom, the absolute carnage in the away end when that goal went in. That is the moment for me, because we had played really, really well and we deserved something out of the game, and that was a moment we all started to believe, you know what, we could actually do something special this season. Obviously it hasn't materialised that way, but Richarlison, that goal, he's got back back-to-back months for me because Richarlison against West Brom, Gomez was up there. If Richarlison had got it, Gomez was there to knock it in.
I was going to ask you actually, what was the more standout moment for you, the winner against Swansea or the equaliser against West Brom? Because as you said, the Swansea game we weren't great, but that West Brom game we'd had a crazy 3-minute spell in the first half and ended up 2-0 down. And we were phenomenal that game. We were excellent. And it kind of, I think when you kind of feel like you deserve something from the game, the goal feels a bit more.
Yeah, I think with the Swansea game, it was more ha 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 in your face, Swansea. Like, yes,
they had the last laugh though. Yeah. Well, we had the last laugh because we stayed up, but
like with the Swansea game, we were like, oh, yeah, get in. Like, we did not expect that. We didn't deserve it. But with West Brom, it was more like, come on, we really did deserve that. And the fact is, we dominated West Brom for like large majorities of it. Like Andy said, without that 3-minute spell, we were absolutely battering him, and the header as well. Like, no, everyone forgets about the cross from Holebas. It's his first ever good cross, really, in a while.
Only ever good cross.
How long's he been there?
Well, since 2015.
16.
He didn't want to join Watford. It was his agent who basically said, you know what, Holebas, you're joining Watford, mate. He came along and he delivered one good ball, and that was
being
it.
Told he's got like tuition.
Yeah, it was. You get paid a lot of money, mate. It's not really the end of the world. But no, honestly, that was the one where it was like Holebas putting a good ball, and then Richarlison with the header back where it came from.
Look what happens when you beat the first man.
Limbs, absolute limbs.
So going into October, this is sort of peak Watford at the start of the season. We'd had a phenomenal start, and the first game in October after the international break was incredibly special, where we faced Arsenal at home. Special for a number of reasons. Obviously, Deeney came on and put in one of the performances of the season, the final half hour. Nailed the penalty, and then Tom obviously nabbing the winner in the 92nd minute. But it was also Deeney's comments after the game, wasn't it, Jacob?
Yeah, I don't think you can not say the moment of that month was the cojones incident.
I've got a different moment, but we'll come on to it in a sec.
That went viral, not only because I commented on a YouTube video that BT Sport put up and it got like 1,000 likes, but also the fact that just for him to have the audacity to come out and say that, I mean, it took a lot of cojones anyway.
Would you ever consider that you maybe classify yourself as a keyboard warrior?
No, I don't spout. I don't spout rubbish. But
if we said I don't smell, what was that?
no, but that has to be the moment. Although that was a fantastic win for him to come out and say that. I mean, personally, I don't think he should have said it, but just he had the Arsenal fan base on the strings from that one comment. It was just beautiful.
Anger.
So my moment of the month is actually in the game that followed that. And by moment, we're not referring to, I should point this out, we're not referring to happy moments, just a moment that stands out in that particular month. It was in the 4-2 defeat at Stamford Bridge, a game that Watford really should have won. And it's another Richarlison moment, a perfect cross from Britos when we were 2-1 up, and a Richarlison header about 4 yards out, which he put wide. And I've never had more recurring nightmares of a miss in a football match than that Richarlison header, because if that goes in, we get another incredible 3 points, and we're comfortably in the European spots. All right, 9 games in. But also after that game, there's the important thing, not related to our club, but Ronald Koeman got sacked from Everton, and then it kind of started to go a bit wrong in the final game. This is
where it all goes, Pete.
In the final game of October, Jacob.
Yep. Stoke at home, for one, was horrendous. Back-to-back, awful games in each year. But then, obviously, travelled up to Merseyside against Everton. Went with my dad. Actually, was about 20 minutes late. And at the start of the November, we're thinking, you know, Marcus Hill was flirting with I think that was the start of Marcus Hill flirting with the Everton job. But overall, that was a horrible, horrible Sunday, and I don't think I've experienced a worse one.
You cried all the way home, didn't you?
I didn't cry, but you could tell I was on the verge. It was very, very close.
It's all right. There is no need to be upset. You know why?
Why?
This love sport.
Yeah, go soccer ball. I love soccer ball, truly do. Yep. Go the Brits.
This is Love Sport, the fans show on Love Sport with 7otb.com. Play your way to £1 million.
Stop paying too much for your energy bills. Brian saved money on his at aspokesmansaid.com. Can you?
I'm Brian from Swaddling-Cote, South Derbyshire, and I saved about £400 on my energy bill with a Spokesman Said. The iSpokesman Said website was very easy to use, instructions are quite clear to follow, and the money I saved I put towards a holiday.
A spokesman said.com compare home energy quotes from the UK's biggest suppliers in just a matter of minutes. To find real people, real savings. Compare, switch and save with a spokesman said.com. Fighting for you, saving you money.
Every goal, every game, every minute. With Brentford FC, a football club like no other. Experience live championship football at Griffin Park as a 2018-19 season ticket holder. Early bird prices apply, so book before the 31st of May and save £50. Prices start from £369 for adults and £49 for juniors. Secure your season tickets today at BrentfordFC.com. That's BrentfordFC.com.
Who's going to win the World Cup? Not Italy, that's for sure. Who do you fancy? England? The Germans? 7 Best Bets offer great welcome deals for new customers. Whether you think you know this summer's big winners, or you want a spin at the roulette table, or you fancy a flutter on the GGs, 7 Best Bets have got you covered. Enjoy your World Cup with us. 7bestbets.com. Please gamble responsibly. Visit GambleAware for details. Love Sport Breakfast with Ian Stone. The perfect comedy breakfast sandwich, bringing home the bacon with all the sports, the biggest news and a fair amount of egg on faces. You like it saucy, there'll be something for you. Love Sport Breakfast with Ian Stone. Weekdays from 6 a.m. on Love Sport.
Millwall, tremendous. I'm a big fan of Wolves. Many people are saying Wolves is what it's all about.
Love Sport. The Fans Show on Love Sport with 7otb.com. Predict 7 results. Win 7 figures.
Yeah, evening. This is Love Sport Radio. We're doing a bit of a review of the season on the Watford Fan Show. Don't forget, you can have your say this evening. 0208 70 20 558. That is our number to call, yeah. It's at Love Sport Radio on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram.
Was that Jamaican?
Go back to school, man.
We've got it tomorrow. I don't think we've ever done a show without a school joke.
No, it's funny. It's funny though.
Get your fruit shoot, get the soft play out.
Get your fruit shoot out. Where's your Dairy Lunchable?
Oh, God.
Do you have Dairy Lunchables? When I think about Dairy Lunchables, all I think is, the quality of the meat that was in there was genuinely abysmal. Like, if you looked at it, it was all squishy and like sliced and stuck together, and you're just like,
oh no.
And they tasted manky as well. Let's be fair.
I never had one. My mum was far too health conscious to give me a Dairy Dunkable.
What? No. A Lunchable.
Oh, sorry.
It's like a cracker.
yeah, I know the one.
Like a bit of cheese and some random dog meat or something like that.
That is gourmet.
It was gourmet, mate. Just when I look at it and I think about it, I'm like, what was this? It was like, do you remember Sunny Delight? We must be about the
Sunny
same
Delight,
age.
yeah.
Do you remember Sunny Delight when that came out?
I do.
Yeah.
I was hyper for about an hour after drinking it.
There was 2 flavours, and everyone was like, if you drink it, it will make you a bit nutty. And then someone said that, if you drink it, it turns your insides yellow. There are all these myths, and then it just disappeared. It literally, it was on the market, and it was the thing to buy, wasn't it?
It was.
And then just disappeared.
It did. Anyway, November.
Yeah. I tell you what, there was 2 months in this.
I think gonna.
There was 2 moments in this month. Apart from, I touched on Everton. Everything about that day was horrendous.
You know what? After the Everton game, I flew to Berlin the day after, and obviously Tom had missed that penalty in the 90. God knows, 100th something minute actually to make it 3-0. Flew to Berlin the day after, got to my hotel about 11 o'clock at night, and I'd been travelling for about 10, 11 hours. Switched on my telly, found the only English channel I could find, which was sport, and the first thing that came on as soon as I got my hotel in Berlin was Tom's penalty miss. And I just think, I've travelled X number of hours and miles just to watch this again.
One man who may have done the same is Nickel from Harrow. He's a Watford fan. Hi, Nickel.
Oh, hi there. How are you? Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Nickel, mate. How are you?
Good to have you on
good,
board,
thanks.
pal. What would you like to say this evening, Nickel?
Well, just about, I was hearing about you guys talking about the season and how Watford have gone. So just my opinion on it and what we should do moving forward, really.
Go for it.
So, to be fair, I think that as we all know, we started really brilliantly in the beginning of the season, but I think that with the whole Silva thing and everything, it didn't, as we know, it didn't go quite to plan, but I think that, I don't know if he may have handled it in the right way or the wrong way, because I think that obviously Silva himself didn't come out and say that he wants to stay and everything, but I don't know what's happened behind the scenes and everything, so maybe we didn't handle it in the right way, but that's what I'm kind of thinking about, really.
Nikhil, do you think if we had kept Silva we would have been relegated? Do you think if we continue with him we'd be safe? Because we were on a downward spiral. I think it was after Burnley away, and then we hadn't won since Leicester on Boxing Day. It was a poor turn of events. Do you think if we kept Marco it would have been a different outcome? We'd be heading for the Championship?
I think so, because you could tell his heart wasn't in it, especially with the Everton links and everything. So I think we would have, yeah. I mean, obviously at the beginning not so, but if your heart's not in it in something and you're kind of just doing it for the sake of it, you're obviously gonna fail. So I think we would have as well, because if you look at our performances, it was like scoring 1-2 goals and then completely losing the leads, whereas when his heart was in it, we used to fight back our leads straight away. So I think so. I mean, I do credit the Podsers for that, because obviously normally at the end of the season they make the decision, but seeing how things went and everything, they did make the right decision, and I think, yeah, you're right, we probably would have got relegated, and or maybe even if I think they did it at the right time, because even if they say not did it at the end of the season, but they did it at towards the end of the season, still it would have been too late. So I think yeah, we would have got relegated.
Nikhil, just on touching on Gracia, and you saying you don't really want him next season. Obviously, I know you personally, and you've always been critical of Gracia. You didn't think he was the right man when he came in. Now it's the end of the season. We're up for another Premier League season. Now, I'm sure you're happy with me saying this. You wanted Arsene Wenger as our next manager, or you were a little bit jealous that West Ham were going for Pellegrini. Is that someone you'd be looking to target?
Definitely. I mean, if you look at all these clubs, especially the mid-table lower teams like West Ham, they tried with managers like David Moyes and that, and they knew it wouldn't work. So now, and obviously their situation with the board is totally opposite of ours. Like most fans are anti of the board, and I am jealous because they're moving forward. And I think the reason why we keep sacking our managers, apart from maybe Silva, in my opinion, who was a good appointment, I don't think the rest of the managers were a good appointment from the beginning. I think that's why, in my opinion, we're struggling. So yeah, I would like Arsene Wenger, that he might not be able to cut it again, but I think he was at Arsenal too long. So I think that he needs to start at like you lose momentum, obviously. So I think he needs to start at another club and rebuild, and I think he'll bring in the youth as well and make our youth better than it is, because it's not the greatest. So I think he'll use the youth and he'll just bring stability, and that top 8, what we're looking for, I believe he can get it with Watford if he came.
I'm not sure Arsene Wenger is angling for another move to another English club, Nikhil, but we love having you on. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's Nikhil from Harrods, 7:30. This is Love Sport.
Putin has sophisticated labs creating his nerve gas, where in America we just harvested from me. The odds with 7 Best Bets. Please gamble responsibly.
Hi, it's Liam from 7bestbets.com. Champions League final is nearly upon us. Can Liverpool beat the mighty Real Madrid? Ronaldo, Bale and co. You can get 2-1 on Liverpool to win. Think it's going to be a tight one? You can get Real Madrid 1-0 at 11-1. Or a Ronaldo hat-trick is 10-1. The mighty Mo Salah, 2 or more goals is 4-1. A Bale hat-trick is 33-1. That's the odds with 7bestbets.com.
The odds with 7 Best Bets. Please gamble responsibly. Visit GambleAware for more information. information. Love Sport Breakfast with Ian Stone.
Danny Dyer did that Who Do You Think You Are? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And it was brilliant.
He's from
you
the King
actually
or
went, yeah, he's related to royalty. And you went, oh, he's all right, Danny. He is all right. And I don't know, there's something quite sweet about him.
You know what? It makes you wonder if he puts it on, doesn't it? Friends of Harold Pinter, related to royalty, and there he is.
What do you think he gets in the door going, I'm having a marvellous time, darling. EastEnders is going very, very well.
No one's rumbled me yet.
No one's rumbled me at all.
Weekdays from 6 a.m.
You can be like Nickel and have your say. It's 0208 70 25 58. Let's look, though, to December. Crimbo. Yeah, there you go, Crimbo. Let's sail over to Crimbo. And Andy, take it away.
Do we really want to cover December, Jacob? It was a bit of a bad month. Well, we put it down in the schedule, so we should probably actually mention what happened. But we'll touch on it very briefly because there was a lot of games. We can't just ignore a month. How bad was December, Jacob?
I think it was bad considering the calibre of opposition. After Spurs getting a point, we were all buzzing, thinking, you know what, out of United and Spurs would take a point. And then we're looking at the next few fixtures. Obviously, Burnley was going to be tough, but Palace, Huddersfield, Brighton, Leicester, Swansea, they're all winnable fixtures, and that's not me being too confident or cocky, but they're all fixtures where you look at it on paper and you think, you know what, we should be getting quite a lot of points out of it, if not maximum, but we shouldn't. I don't think we should be losing as heavily as we did. Huddersfield stands out for me as one of the probably worst home games, and then Swansea at the end of the month was probably the worst I felt after a football match this season. Palace is up there.
How bad was it?
It was bad because Carvajal come in. It was one of those where, although you're winning for the majority of the game, you're in cruise control, you just knew something was going to happen because we were too comfortable. We were keeping the ball.
We didn't go for it, really, did we?
Yeah, we were just sitting off, playing it sideways, not really doing a lot with the ball. And after quite a quick start, it was disappointing to see the way it went.
It was frustrating because it should have been a 2-0 win, with Gray having a 1-on-1 in the final few seconds before Swansea got there. Literally moments before Swansea got their equaliser, and then we obviously all know what happened straight after that. But during December, we also had a run of 3 red cards in 3 games. So Burnley Ziegler was sent off, and then Palace cleverly got sent off before our capitulation, and then Huddersfield, we don't want to touch on it too much. Deeney got sent off in the first half, and then at Brighton, that was the only game this season that Decore didn't play because he was suspended, and if we'd had Decore for that Brighton game, I think we could have got something from that. That's the only game.
It had 0-0 written all over it, and one lapse concentration it cost us. But my moment of the month was, well, not moment, it was a negative moment of the month. Standout was the feeling after James MacArthur of all people popping up in the 90th minute. Oh God! To make it 2-1 within 2 minutes, we'd absolutely bottled it. Yamat taking the lead, then Bakary Sacco, and then James MacArthur. All round, it was an awful day. Like I said, one of the worst I felt at a football match. And it was overall this season, Watford have dropped the most points from winning positions than anyone, and there's a reason for that. In December highlights it all. There's a lot of drop points.
Not good at all. So 2018, a brand new year for the Hornets. Hopefully put the December that we had behind us. Started off away at Manchester City, which we didn't know at the time, but there was a fairly historic moment of 2018, which came in the 82nd minute, and that was Watford's last away goal of the season in any competition. At the time, it was sort of as a consolation goal. Don't worry, we'll go away to Leicester and score, or we'll go to Southampton and score in the next round of the FA Cup. No, that didn't happen, and we're still thinking that.
You forgot to mention transfers.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on transfers.
Oh, all right, sorry.
We're getting there.
I'm excited.
Don't you worry, because the transfers happened pretty late. But the main news in January, of course, after Abdullah's handball, was Marco Silva sacked.
Yeah. Marco Silva sacked. There you go. One man who definitely want to reflect on that is the evergreen, or ever yellow, should I say, Shane from Uxbridge. Evening, Shane-o!
Evening, Aaron. Evening, lads.
How you getting
Shane.
on, pal? You
Hello,
good?
Shane.
Enjoying the non-football, you know. Is it the first weekend, no Premier League? Is this weekend?
Yeah,
it is. It is. It takes a bit of time to settle in. How are you settling in?
Well, I'm glad the weather's good anyway.
Did you watch the royal wedding, Shane? Were you engrossed by the royal wedding?
No,
no,
not interested. No.
What's your point this evening, Shane?
Well, I was just listening, obviously, to what you guys were saying and talking about the season and touching on that December. I can't really explain to you what that December was like because we've taken off air. Honestly, absolutely dreadful. You know, I know Jacob touched on it. Huddersfield was one of the worst games. For me, it was Swansea. I mean, how did we lose that? I know how we managed to lose it, but it's a quality that's almost stalked this season for us. It's just standing there, watching the game, knowing the opposition are going to get back into it. You know, I had that feeling every time Swansea went forward in that second half. I had a feeling they were going to nick it. And when Andre Gray missed his chance, that one-on-one, which, come on, I mean, you should have buried it. I mean, when he failed to score that, I thought Swansea were going to nick it now. I could feel it. I could feel Carvajal on the touchline, getting them forward. His first game as well as the Swansea boss. And they went on and, you know, they got the win and all that. And it's been a bit of a weird season, I think, because, all right, on the one hand, we started off really, really well, and Marco Silva was the god, and, you know, I praised him so much, and some of the football we've been seeing, being unbeaten away from home for such a long period, you know, we started to plan our European adventure for next season. You know, I can't lie, you know, I was looking ahead to that, and just everything that unfolded, I think. It was an interesting point, actually, that Nick Hill made in one of his books. I know that you asked him that, Jacob. I do genuinely think, had Marco Silva stuck around, we would have gone down, I think.
Shane, can I just touch on something with Silva? Do you think he's as good as people are making out for him to be? Because although he flirted with the Everton job, and obviously that sparked a really poor run of form, Is he all of that he's cracked up to be? Is he that good? Because, I mean, that run is absolutely appalling. I mean, apart from Boxing Day, and then when Gracia came in, we've blown so many points. We lost so many games.
Yep.
I know we had a great start to the season, but the fact Everton are almost sacrificing their futures on him, and they want him that much. Do you think he's honestly that good?
No, I don't. I don't think he's that good. I think the quality of players that we actually had, I think they pulled us through a lot of those games. You know, a lot of people look at the Arsenal game at the Vic and, you know, rave about Marco Silva. I disagree with that. I think that's more down to Arsenal and their capitulation, and more importantly, our lads dug in for that game. You know, 1-0 down for a long time, getting back into the game, cleverly winner. We were really pushing for it, and we had to grind out a win in that game. And that was down to the players, and obviously down to Cleverly being in the right place at the right time. But, you know, it's one of these things I will never ever understand for the life of me why Marco Silva left early. I will never ever get it, because for me he had a huge chance, a massive opportunity in his career to kind of almost further his credentials by staying at the club, and he's risked it, and, you know, he's come across as incredibly petulant. You know. That's all that's happened here. And the fact that Everton are willing to gamble on him, I think it's a massive mistake. I think Everton are taking a rather suicidal route in all of that, because, you know, I was over the moon when Marco Silva signed for us, and I was so looking forward to it. But over time, and, you know, having seen Javi come in and all that, I realised that Marco was probably about 75% arrogance, really, than any kind of managerial, you know, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's an incredibly talented manager, but we've had an incredibly sour experience with him. But, you know, obviously looking ahead, I heard Nick Hill talk about Arsene Wenger. I just can't see him. I can never see a calibre of manager like Wenger coming because of our model. I just think, as Arsenal fans will tell you, Wenger is a bit of a control freak. He will want everything. He will want the funds. He will want first pick on players, and our owners are simply not set up. The club is not set up to do that. The owners buy the players. The manager has, or head coach in our case, has no say in any of that. So I don't think that would happen. But I think looking ahead now to the summer, it's a big summer. I've said this on a number of occasions. This is now a huge... This is quite possibly club club history defining season, because if we want to stay in the Prem, we have to strengthen. And from what I've seen, I'm not at the moment too sure if that's going to happen.
Who knows, Shane? That's the thing. That's the problem with the Pozzos. You just never know what's coming next. I'll tell you what, though. Great having you on this evening, Shane. Apologies, we do have to go to a break. It's 19 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is Love Sport.
In our survey of 100% of people say they preferred Love Sport to 5 Live. Thanks, boss. 558 AM. Love Sport. Love Sport with 7otb.com. Play your way to £1 million.
When looking for the best possible deal for his car insurance, Jim went on a spokesmansaid.com and saved hundreds.
I'm Jim. I'm a radio presenter based in Glasgow. I couldn't believe how expensive the car insurance for our Citroen C4 Picasso was going to be from my existing insurer. I went on a Spokesman Said and saved an incredible £600. Just amazing. Signing up to Spokesman Said, best thing I could have done.
Find quotes from over 100 leading insurance providers at a spokesmansaid.com. Getting real people, real savings. Compare, switch and save with a spokesmansaid.com.
Who's going to win the World Cup? Not Italy, that's for sure. Who do you fancy? England? The Germans? 7 Best Bets offer great welcome deals for new customers. Whether you think you know this summer's big winners, or you want a spin at the roulette table, or you fancy a flutter on the GGs, 7 Best Bets have got you covered. Enjoy your World Cup with us. 7bestbets.com. Please gamble responsibly. Visit GambleAware for details. Love Sport. Available on Radio Player and TuneIn Radio for your smartphone. Download now from the App Store and Google Play.
You could make the main dealer's day by paying over the odds. Or you could go to Big Motoring World and save a fortune on up to 2,000 pre-owned BMWs, Mercedes, Audis and VWs in stock. Then with the money you saved, put a smile on your face with a cheeky weekend away for 2. Give yourself a break at Big Motoring World, just minutes from the M25. See bigmotoringworld.co.uk.
Big Motoring World. Change for Life is about small changes we can make to be healthier. For loads of ideas to cut back fat, watch the salt, make sugar swaps or get your 5 a day, just search online for Change for Life.
Most people don't know this, but you can't buy pizza by the slice anywhere in London. Seriously, there's a gap in the market right there.
Love Sport, 558 AM. The Fans Show on Love Sport with 7otb.com. Play your way to £1 million.
Yeah, some great points made by Shano there. 0208 70 25 58 is our number to call if you want to have your say. Where are we on to now?
We're on to February, but we we'll mention very, very briefly, the important signing in January was Gerard Deulofeu coming in, and he's very important because the first game in February, Jacob, was that 4-1 home victory against Chelsea, one of the games of the season. How important was Deulofeu during that game?
And the first home game for Gracia.
First home game for Gracia.
Everything. Deulofeu was, I don't think without him we wouldn't have won that game. To win the penalty in the first place, I mean, it was clear contact. He's just been by Courtois. He's gone down. Dini, obviously, with that infamous celebration.
Yeah, we can't really talk about that in much depth, can we?
Yeah, so then, but obviously, the goal from Janmaat, but then Deulofeu, about 5 minutes after, to waltz past the Chelsea defence, it was everything we wanted from him when we signed him. Someone who could take the game by the scruff of the neck, someone who can go at defenders, something we've missed for a while because Richarlison had gone out of form by this stage. He was tired, he was out of form, he was demotivated, but Deulofeu came in and it was a breath of fresh air. He was just unbelievable in that game. I mean, without those 3 points and without a couple of games with him in, I don't think we might be flirting with relegation.
We'd be looking over our shoulder for sure, and that game also included Daryl Janmaat's goal of the season, of course, to put us 2-1 up. A defeat against West Ham, and then at the end of February and the start of March we had 2 games that were pretty much identical, both 1-0 wins, both with a Dini goal in the second half. And those two victories going into defeats, what turned out to be defeats at Arsenal and Liverpool, were crucial in our bid to stay in the Premier League, weren't they?
Yeah, well, I've got the sheet down here and I've put in capitals most important wins of the season, because both of them were just... if we didn't get those 2 1-0 wins, Deeney playing a massive part. And that's the thing with Deeney, although he's probably had one of his worst seasons in a Watford shirt, he's had a massive impact on it again, because...
Oh, sorry, no, go on.
That's all right. No, that's fine.
I was going to say, do you think he misses that sort of like foil of Igalo, that
I think
player who plays with him, and, that combination? Sometimes, you see strikers play the best when they play in a 2. I know it's the fashion now to play as a number 1 and have that one man up top, but you can't beat some of the old school combinations. Do you remember Henderson and King in the playoff season?
Certainly do.
What a formation. Darius Henderson and Marlon King. I mean, two players put together on a shoestring 1 and 2 just out of nowhere.
I think
many tried to break it. Steve Cabber, Priskin, but they never succeeded.
I think with Deeney, someone called in last week or the week before, you have to be world class to play one up top, and you have to have a really, really good movement. And Deeney probably doesn't have that anymore, and he has to play with a partner. Vidra linked. Will we take him back? You never know. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
I really wouldn't, because I think the price they want is around... Well, it depends in this market, but I think we should give him another crack of the whip. A lot of Watford fans would take him back in a heartbeat. But Deeney, obviously instrumental in both those 1-0 wins. 2 really well taken goals as well, especially the Everton one where he took it out of his feet and blasted it in the top corner. And the composure against Ben Foster, former Watford goalkeeper. Deeney was integral in those 2 wins and really confirmed our safety for another Premier League season.
And yeah, it certainly did. Going into mid-March, a 3-0 defeat away at Arsenal, which included, it was the return of, it was the Cojones derby, wasn't it? After Deeney's Cojones derby after Deeney's comments against Arsenal earlier in the season, and when Deeney stepped up for that penalty to make it 2-1, possibly, there was just this sense of he's going to miss in the away end. I don't know why that happens. I don't know why we felt it. But me and everyone around me thought he's not going to score this, and I don't know why. But recently, for the penalties Troy's taken recently, Newcastle, Arsenal, he's not hammered it down the middle. We've always seen Troy smash it down the middle, because it's almost, well, I saw this fact on QI, but it's statistically the best place to go, because goalkeepers will dive either side.
It takes a lot of cojones to stay down the middle. Like, for a goalkeeper to stay down the middle, not make a fool of himself if the guy slots it past one of the corners. I mean, Deeney, his trademark penalty is down the middle. Saw it against Palace for his 100th goal. We saw it against Man United when we won 3-1. There's been so many ways he's just blasted it and it's gone in. And I don't think he's actually... Has he missed one when he's gone down the middle and the keeper saved it?
Not that I can recall.
I can't either.
So we then had a quite a lengthy and fairly depressing trip up to the northwest of England to Merseyside and Anfield. This game, we'll forget that it was 5-0. We'll say it quietly. But this game included your moment of the season.
My moment,
of the month.
Yeah, my moment of the month was the first goal from Salah. It got to the point where it's just funny. Miguel Britos getting both of his ankles broken by Salah. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, it's actually quite a funny story, because I've seen him play for the under-23s on the Monday, and then by the Saturday, he was getting absolutely torn apart by Mo Salah. It was an incredible performance by Mo Salah, but Britos, it was one of those, like I've said so many times with defenders, when it gets to that point where you're up against the most informed player in the league, you've played no football, you've been injured for a while, you've got to feel sorry for him.
It's 10 minutes to 8 o'clock. We're going to be looking back at Miguel Britos' broken ankles. This is Love Sport.
World peace, the greatest accident that I've ever done.
Love Sport.
I work for a spokesmansaid.com. We can help you save money on your home insurance. All you need to do is visit a spokesmansaid.com and find out if we can find you a better deal.
Love Sport Breakfast with Ian Stone.
There are times when you see a woman, you think she's very beautiful and I'd like to tell her, but how do you do it without being a creep? Well, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. And one useful tip, actually, is if you're going to compliment a woman, it doesn't always have to be about her appearance. If you mix in actually, hey, you're really funny, or that was a really interesting thing to say.
And
actually,
then you go, those breasts are magnificent. At that point, it's absolutely fine.
Exactly.
Let's start with the brain.
Weekdays from 6 a.m.
British summertime, great times. Light the barbecue with Hillary's old emails.
Love Sport, 558 a.m.
Let's round up this season, chaps. Let's do it. Let's head for it, because it wasn't the greatest. But, to be fair, Watford are up. They survived.
14th in the table.
Happy
You'd probably
days.
take that.
We got there in the end, didn't we? So end of March, we had again a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth, which featured a Defoe goal in the final minute. Before then, another slightly a bit of a dampener at home to Burnley. We were 1-0 up, and we were all over them. And then a balmy 4-minute spell saw Burnley run away with 2-1 winners, and then a trip up to Huddersfield, Jacob, which on paper possibly should have done a bit better.
Yeah, we probably should have, but you've got to take into account the last 4 games where we've got 1 point. We bottled the Burnley game, we bottled the Bournemouth game, got tonked by Liverpool, got tonked by Arsenal. So obviously the confidence was pretty low, but I think with that game especially, it was one of those where you could just see the goal coming out. I tweeted out about 5 minutes after the game, did anyone really expect anything different? And I certainly didn't. When Ince popped up in the 90th minute, Tom Ince of all people as well, we've always got a history of him.
Having not scored since the start of January, I am with Spurs and United coming up as our final 2 away games. I'd eyed that Huddersfield game thinking, right, we're going to score. We've got to score away from home. Otherwise, there's no hope for us. And when that goal went in, the feeling of deflation that you get as an away fan, there's nothing quite like it. It's such polar opposites as compared to when you score a last-minute winner to conceding a last-minute goal away from home. Horrible. It is draining. You've put in all that time, that energy to travel up and watch your team and support them, and then that sucker punch right at the end. And like you said, from a player that we've got a little bit of history with, not overly pleasant.
Not Zaha level,
which brings us on nicely onto our next fixture, Watford 0, Crystal Palace 0, which was a little bit of the boy who cried wolf, as I put. Obviously, Zaha got absolutely clattered throughout the game, and the one time that he genuinely did get brought down, he got his comeuppance and got a yellow card for diving. But that game sort of was a game of 2 halves almost. Like we started well, we just didn't have summed up that we needed someone to finish, basically.
That was one of the best atmospheres all season, I thought, as well. I mean, it was absolutely bouncing, but I mean, who was it? Yeah, it was a Kaka hit the bar early on from a Deeney cross. We were linking up well, but we were just lacking that final ball, that killer instinct in front of goal. And then the second half, like Andy said, that the one where he actually did get clattered, it was from Adrian Mariappa, and Mariappa said after the game to Zaha that it was a penalty. So, like Andy said again, it was one of those where Zaha's only got himself to blame. He goes down too easily normally, but probably in retrospect that was probably a foul. And then Swansea, the Spurs on the Monday night. Not really a lot you could talk about there.
Extortionate ticket prices, that's what I'll say.
That's one. But
should have scored.
But it actually turns out Carnes is employed by Spurs, especially for that first goal. I mean, horrendous goalkeeping to flap it out. And then Newcastle at home to round off the season with a win was particularly good.
Yeah, it's always nice to finish at home with your last home game, finish it with a win. Because a few seasons ago we played Huddersfield, of all people, at home, 13-14, lost 4-1, and the atmosphere and the number of people that stayed afterwards to clap the team off.
Compared to last season, where I was there on the Matsari and most people left after about 20 minutes.
That was toxic.
I'd forgotten about that.
It was so bad. And the worst thing for me is when he was sitting in the dugout and his coaching staff were like, come on, let's go. And he was like, do I have to?
Yeah.
And even in the press conference as well, he's standing there. And he you know, like the press officer come over to him, his translator's there, and he's like, no, I don't need to do it. He's another press officer like, no, you have to do it. It's like, mate, come on. Come on.
Bit of professionalism was lacking slightly.
Don't be a donut.
But we don't want to talk about Matt Sarri on this show. Only positive things. Which that win against Newcastle took us onto 40 points. But that game I felt sort of summed up our season. First half we were excellent. Should have done a bit better with the penalty miss. And then second half we kind of disappeared and let Newcastle come onto us a bit.
You could even argue that Newcastle probably deserved to get a second goal on the balance of play in the second half. We dominated them in the first. Deeney obviously missed a penalty. We could have been 3-0 up by half time, and we were thinking, oh, it's going to happen again, isn't it? Thankfully, we saw it through. Maybe a better Newcastle side would have capitalised on the poor performance in the second half.
And then rounded off the season with a 1-0 defeat at Old Trafford, which again we could have got something out of, and we're going to have to wait till August until our next, well, hopefully August until our next away goal. What are your thoughts on the coming season, Jacob, in a one-liner?
If Gracia stays, needs new players, needs new tactics with the new players, because at the moment, if we keep the current squad, I think we might be relegated.
There we go.
Well, thank you very much, chaps. It's been a whirlwind roundup of the season, isn't it?
That was a quick one, yeah. Nice one.
Nice one, chaps. Well, one thing I'll say to Watford is, can you please ensure there's more shirts in kid sizes, and pencil cases and stationery and stuff, because he likes buying the odd pencil, when he goes down to Vicarage Road. This is Love Sport Radio, approaching 8 o'clock.